The moment Daniel Carter heard the sound of quiet weeping, his heart tightened in a way he couldn't explain. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was the kind of crying that came from someone who had already cried too much and had no strength left. People were walking past as if nothing was happening. Buses rolled by on Fifth Avenue, their engines humming like background music to a city that never slowed down. Cars stopped and moved again. A yellow taxi honked impatiently. Life in New York City continued, careless and fast. Daniel stopped. He was a single dad, 37 years old, with tired eyes and a gentle face shaped by responsibility. His 8-year-old daughter, Lily, stood beside him holding a small paper bag of bagels. They had just left Central Park, where Lily had been feeding pigeons and laughing in a way that reminded Daniel why he kept going every day. The crying came from a bench near the edge of the park. A woman sat there, her shoulders shaking. Her clothes were old and worn, her shoes cracked at the sides. She kept wiping her face with the sleeve of her coat, but the tears would not stop. "Daddy," Lily whispered softly, tugging his hand. "Why is that lady crying?" Daniel looked around. People noticed. People heard. But no one stopped. He took a deep breath. Life had taught him how painful it was to be invisible. After his wife died 5 years ago, he had learned how heavy silence could be. How loneliness could sit beside you in a crowded place and still feel unbearable. "Wait here, sweetheart," he said gently. "Right where I can see you." He walked toward the bench slowly, not wanting to frighten her. "Excuse me," Daniel said in a calm voice. "I'm sorry to bother you. I noticed you were crying. Are you okay?" The woman looked up, startled. Her eyes were red and swollen, full of pain that went far deeper than tears. She tried to speak, but her voice broke. "I'm sorry," she said, embarrassed. "I didn't mean to make a scene." "You're not," Daniel replied. "And you don't have to be sorry." For a moment, she hesitated. Then something inside her collapsed. "My name is Margaret," she said quietly. "I came here because I didn't know where else to go." Daniel sat on the other end of the bench, keeping a respectful distance. Margaret stared at the ground. "I worked as a cleaner for 20 years. Same hospital. Same floors. Same long nights." Her hands trembled. "Last month, they said I was too slow. Too old. They let me go." Daniel listened. Truly listened. "I used all my savings to pay rent," she continued. "My landlord gave me a notice yesterday. 3 days. After that, I don't know." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I haven't eaten since yesterday morning." Daniel felt something break open in his chest. Behind them, a city bus stopped, doors opening with a hiss. People stepped off, laughing, talking on phones, complaining about weather. None of them knew what was happening on that bench. "I prayed last night," Margaret said, tears rolling again. "I asked God if he could at least let one person see me today." Daniel swallowed hard. He thought of Lily. He thought of the nights he had cried alone after putting her to sleep, begging for strength. At that moment, Lily walked closer, her small steps careful. "Daddy?" she asked softly. Daniel looked at her and then back at Margaret. "This is my daughter," he said. "Her name is Lily." Lily smiled shyly and held out one of the bagels. "You can have mine," she said. "I'm not very hungry." Margaret froze. Her hands shook as she took the bagel. She didn't eat it right away. She just held it and cried harder than before. People began to notice. A man walking his dog slowed down. A woman pushing a stroller stopped nearby. Something about the scene pulled at them. "What happened?" someone whispered. Daniel didn't answer. He didn't need to. Sometimes kindness speaks louder than explanations. Margaret finally took a small bite of the bagel, tears still falling. "Thank you," she whispered to Lily. "You don't know what this means." Lily shrugged gently. "My daddy says sharing makes sad hearts lighter." Daniel smiled, though his eyes were wet. More people had gathered now. Not in a crowd, but enough to feel the shift in the air. The city noise seemed softer, as if even New York was listening. A man in a gray coat stepped closer. "Is she okay?" he asked Daniel. "She lost her job," Daniel replied calmly. "She hasn't eaten. She might lose her home." The man reached into his pocket without another word and placed some bills on the bench. A woman followed, leaving a coffee and a sandwich. Another person offered a warm scarf. Margaret shook her head. "I don't want charity," she said weakly. Daniel looked at her with kindness. "This isn't charity," he said. This is people choosing not to walk away. A police helicopter passed overhead, its distant sound echoing above the tall buildings. Margaret looked up, startled, then laughed softly through tears. I never thought my life would come to this, she said. I used to clean rooms where doctors saved lives. Now I feel like mine doesn't matter. Daniel leaned forward. Your life matters, he said firmly, even when the world forgets to say it. Margaret's story poured out. She spoke of her late husband, of never having children, of long nights working so others could heal. She spoke of pride, and how hard it was to ask for help. Each word pulled more emotion from those listening. A young woman nearby wiped her eyes. My mom is a cleaner, she said softly. I never realized how invisible people make them feel. A city bus stopped again across the street, its doors opening. The driver watched quietly from his seat, waiting longer than usual before pulling away. Daniel stood up. Margaret, he said gently, I can't fix everything, but I can help with today. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Hey, he said when someone answered. It's Daniel. I know this is last minute, but do you still need someone for the community center? He listened, nodded, then smiled. They need help in the kitchen, he told Margaret. It's not permanent, but it's a start, and they can help you with housing resources. Margaret stared at him, disbelief flooding her face. Why would you do this for me? Daniel looked at Lily, then back at Margaret. Because someone once stopped for me, he said quietly, and it saved my life. The people around them felt it. The truth in his voice. The pain he carried without bitterness. Tears flowed freely now. Not just from Margaret, but from strangers who had never expected to feel this way on an ordinary day. Margaret stood up slowly. She hugged Lily carefully, as if holding something precious. You gave me hope, she whispered. Lily hugged her back. You're not invisible, she said simply. As they walked toward the bus stop together, the city seemed different. Softer. Kinder. The bus arrived, brakes sighing. Daniel helped Margaret step inside. People made room. Someone smiled. Someone nodded. Margaret turned back one last time. I won't forget this, she said, her voice strong for the first time. Daniel watched as the bus pulled away, disappearing into traffic. Lily squeezed his hand. Daddy, she said, are we going to be okay? Daniel looked at the sky above the tall buildings, sunlight breaking through clouds. Yes, he said softly, because we choose kindness. That evening, Daniel and Lily walked home through the park again. The trees swayed gently, and the city lights began to glow. A motorcycle passed on a nearby street, its sound fading into the distance. Somewhere, laughter echoed. Somewhere else, someone was crying. Life continued, just as it always did. But something had changed. Daniel thought about Margaret. About how close she had been to disappearing without anyone noticing. About how many people sat on benches every day, carrying invisible pain. Kindness didn't fix the world in one moment. It didn't erase suffering, but it created ripples. Real ones. Ripples that reached hearts and stayed there. A few weeks later, Daniel received a message from the community center. Margaret was doing well. She had a small room now. A steady routine. Hope. Daniel showed the message to Lily. She smiled and hugged him tightly. That night, as the city rested under quiet stars, Daniel understood something deeply. You don't need to be rich to change a life. You don't need power or fame. Sometimes, all it takes is stopping, listening, caring. Because the world doesn't need more speed. It needs more kindness. Dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, please take a moment to comment below and share your thoughts. Your words may inspire someone who feels unseen today. Kindly like this video and share it with your friends and loved ones, because kindness grows when it is shared. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel Kindness Quest, where every story is a reminder that small acts of love can change lives. Thank you for watching, and thank you for choosing kindness.